Take a look at these hands. These are the hands of a Fructocryptotaxidermist. I find fruit disgusting. An individual orange is to me repellent. It's not actually the taste, the smell or the feel that I have an aversion to. It's just that fruit makes me feel so lonely. Just look at this. Disgusting, isn't it? Doesn't it make you feel so alone? When I was a child, my mother would take me to the greengrocer's every Thursday at roughly 11 o'clock. The greengrocer would close the shop and my mother would kiss me roughly on the head, and then he would lead her into the back room with a cucumber, a banana, or later, after my sister was born, a butternut squash in hand. Then I'd hear the click of a latch. I'd be on the shop floor for about 20 minutes. People who wanted to use the shop would glare in the window. This happened every Thursday until I was 14. I would spend the time just looking blankly at the fruit. But this has nothing to do with why I find fruit so lonely. Fruit and vegetables are incomplete. This isn't something I can prove. I have no way of substantiating this, but it's definitely the indisputable truth. Fruit and vegetables are incomplete. Just look at them. Here I have an apple and a tomato. Just look at them. I tried sellotaping back onto the trees. It didn't work. They just looked more lonely, all scary and up high. I tried hammering them, educating them, loving them. I read to them James and the Giant Peach and the works of Nietzsche. I went travelling with them. We tried finding ourselves in India. It might have worked, but some pampered, bushy-haired, middle-aged cunt ate them all, so now we'd never know. Then I met someone. At first, she made me feel wrong in the belly, a little bit sick, similar to the way fruit makes me feel. One night, she invited me back to her house. Nibbling gently on my earlobe, she whispered to me, "Have you ever heard of cryptotaxidermy?" And not wanting to sound too vanilla, I said, "Yes, I like it." Entering the flat, I told her that I was very hard and that I was going to do abhorrent things to her. We made very passionate love on the arm of the sofa. During mid-intercourse, I saw a creature looking at me from across the room on her mantelpiece. As I recall, she had a rather nice mantle. The creature had a gopher's body, the tail of an infant crocodile, the head of a kestrel, and the genitalia of a hermaphrodite swan. It did not move. When I stared into the creature's eyes, I felt love for the very first time. I knew what it was to be complete. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional here. This creature was so perfectly and unmistakably complete. Eventually, the intercourse came to its natural conclusion and I wept. She held me until I stopped crying and she went to the bathroom. I began to study the creature on the mantelpiece. It was like looking at a god, but better. About 5 times better. She eventually re-entered. "You really like my crocodile, don't you?" she said. I told her that it was the most perfect thing I'd ever seen. "It took ages to make," she said, "but it's amazing what you can buy on eBay these days." She paused. "Not many people really get cryptotaxidermy round here." What's there not to get, I thought. Cryptotaxidermy is the creation of stuffed animals which do not have real live counterparts such as the jackalope. They can have mythical origin or simply be of the taxidermist's imagination. They can be recreations of extinct or endangered animals. They can be made from the supposed parts of mythical animals, for example, the chimera, or the griffin, or the unicorn, or the capricorn, or they may be artificially created. That was 4 years ago now. My female companion disappeared soon after that incident. They found her body 3 months later, fused with an elk. They never found out who did it, but the culprit was commended for the professionalism of the work. The exposition was so artful that when it was found, a Mr. White thought he had stumbled on a new species and even managed to convince the local paper to write an article. The missing link between elk and humans discovered in Nailsworth. Scientists were called in. Their autopsy eventually revealed the true nature of the corpse. Sometimes I wonder if the said individual should be let off for making her more incredible, more complete than she ever was in life. I don't think they'll ever catch him though, or her. I will now overcome Fruit's biggest problem. With these simple cocktail sticks and a needle and thread, I have the power to make the ugly beautiful, to make the incomplete complete. With one single double gesture, Fruit is emancipated from its condition. I will fuse the fruit that stand before me. I suggest you look away, as some people often find this process rather disturbing. I tend to use a hacksaw for a nice clean cut. The mushroom is often underrated as a use in these kind of projects. These are so much better because they just look friendlier. These have infinite more uses. For example, they can be made to look like children's toys. These are infinitely more interesting because they look less like sexual organs. With recent developments in genetic modification, you would have thought we would no longer have to suffer the torment of the pomegranate, a dreary quince, or a sodding Granny Smith. But the government of this country wants to maintain the banana. The mandarin is an instrument of pacification that turns us into grape-munching nonces. We would be free to live as individuals if satsumas didn't make us feel so afraid, so lonely, so dead. I would urge you to write to your local MP, ordering them to bring this up in Parliament. I suggest the slogan, "No more apples, no more grapes, the greengrocer is king and so the individual is raped." These are the hands of a fructocryptotaxidermist. One day I hope they will be your hands. I mean this quite literally. If anyone wants my hands with the intention of graphiting onto their body, please email me. I suggest placing them on the buttocks or the lower back, or in exchange for the ears. Thank you for watching.